My Hebrew brothers and sisters, welcome back. 12 tribes of Israel scattered all over the globe. This is your Moray Yeshua ben Uriah Israel, and we're so glad to have you back. And thank you for your prayers, thank you for your subscriptions, and also for your comments. Let me say this, that in our last session, we're dealing with unleavened bread, okay? The unleavened bread. We're going to continue on the subject of the unleavened bread, just give you an additional part to this. And so today what we want to look at is basically the practical significance of this, because sometimes, we do something but we don't have an idea why we do it. We just do it because we see someone else do it, our family members, doing it and so on. But we want to look at it from the scripture, and we want to see. Okay, so let us look in Numbers chapter 28. Numbers chapter 28, and we're going to look at a few verses 17 through 25. And we want to glean from this the significance and why we should not just clear the things, the yeast out of our house. Like sometimes we clear the yeast out of our house. We don't want no presence. But you know what? We do have unleavened. We have leaven in us, in our system, in our lives. We have malice and strife and anger and all these things. These are sinful stuff. These are stuff that you refer to spiritual leaven in our lives. Okay, but in Numbers chapter 28, verses 17 through 25, listen to this. It said, "And in the 15th day of this month is a feast. 7 days shall be unleavened bread. In the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no manner of servile work." Okay? "But ye shall offer sacrifice made by fire for burnt offering unto Yahweh, who is with two bullocks and 1 ram and 7 lambs, and the first year they shall be unto you without blemish." Without blemish. So we couldn't do anything. You can't go look for an animal that was acting right, it's kind of acting sick, and you don't like that one, so you're going to give that one. You couldn't do that. Got to be a male animal, and it got to be without blemish. No sickness. Got to be very healthy. You know why? Because it's a significance that Yahuwah was going to give his only begotten son, Yeshua, as a sacrifice. And you know what? There was no blemish in him. No blemish in him. So we see there, and so the people have to obey. It says, "So their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil. 3/10 deals with they shall offer for a bullock, and 2/10 deals with it's a ram." Okay, so several tenth, a several tenth deal shall thou offer unto, offer for every lamb, rather, without the 7 lambs. He said, and 1 goat for a sin offering to make an atonement. Do you remember the goat was called in the priest would pray for the sin of the people, put them on the goat and send the goat out into the wilderness. The goat will be out there to perish, okay? But we know that the first and seventh day of the feast were Shabbat. The first day, like today's, the feast is going on today, Shabbat, okay? And then at the end of the seventh day, they're going to be a Shabbat. So the first day and the seventh day, okay? And then the people could not do any work. There was no work to be done at that time. And then look with me, also, notice with me also rather, that the leaven was strictly forbidden. Leaven was strictly forbidden. Okay? You couldn't have anything in the house with leaven. And you know, the same thing, leaven in our lives is strictly forbidden. Yahweh did not give his life, he didn't give sacrifice himself, you know, for nothing. Okay? He didn't do it for naught. And then, you know, sometimes people say, you know, they don't want to, oh, why this blood sacrifice? Why this blood sacrifice? You know what? We don't do the blood sacrifice like they did it there anymore. What do we do now? After Yahweh offered himself up as the supreme sacrifice, what do? We now offer ourselves up as a sacrifice. But you know, you see what happened? There was a dead sacrifice. The animal had to be dead for you to use the blood. They said the life is in the blood, right? But no, we don't do that. What do? We offer ourselves as living sacrifices. In Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, it said, I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercy of Yahweh, that you present yourselves as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable unto Yahweh, which is your reasonable service. How do we make this service reasonable? In verse 2 it said, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. So this sacrifice, it continues, but not in the sense that we're going killing an animal out there. We are sacrificing, we are giving ourselves on the altar as living sacrifice. Living sacrifice. Okay? Living sacrifice. There are 5 other places in the Bible where this is repeated. Exodus chapter 12, verses 14 to 20, 13, chapter 13, 6 to 8, and chapter 23, verse 15, and chapter 34, verse 18, and then Deuteronomy chapter 16, verses 3 and 8. Not only, my brothers and my sisters, is eating food with leaven forbidden, but also is the presence of leaven. Okay? And we should have it in the house. So what I did, I make sure I look for the yeast and the baking powder that I have in there and get rid of them. I don't have any cake mix that have leaven in it and so on like that. So we have to be obedient. You know what? Sometimes we think we got everything and sometimes we don't have everything. So we have to keep looking and looking. And if we find something that we're not supposed to have, just, get rid of it and just make a vow to Yahweh that you're going to keep it and holy. You're going to keep it that time holy. Okay, but it's eat unleavened bread during those 7 days. During the 7 days, nothing with yeast in it is to be eaten. I've seen among you. Nor shall any yeast be seen anywhere within your borders. So we have to get rid of it. In Exodus chapter 13:7, it talks also about that. Why are we so perversive in this? Okay, why are we so perversive? It's because, my brothers and my sisters, what this feast really symbolizes. That's why. What it symbolizes for the Hebrew Israelite people. Okay? Eat it with bread made with yeast. To eat with bread made with yeast, is not what Yahweh wants. We have to eat whatever the meat that He tells us to provide, right? And prepare. We must eat it with unleavened bread. Eat it without yeast in the bread, okay? 7 days, the bread you eat must be made without yeast, as when you escaped from Egypt. You remember? They didn't have time. To put the yeast in the bread, they got to sit down and wait for it to rise, okay, before they can put it in the oven. But we don't do that. He said, do it in a hurry. If you're going to leave Egypt, you're going to escape from Egypt in such a hurry, and so that this bread should be eaten with unleavened. Without yeast. Okay? So the bread of suffering, it reminds us of the suffering. The hard, when you eat something that doesn't have, like you eat bread without, yeast in it, it's kind of a little bit hard and uncomfortable, doesn't it? But it reminds us of the suffering that we experience down there. So as long as you live, you will remember this day, the day when your people departed, when you departed out of Egypt. So they remember it there. We're going to remember it because we're reading after, we're following after, okay? In Deuteronomy chapter 16:3, it tells us that. Okay, now, it was a reminder of their suffering in Egypt, right? This is why the unleavened bread is referenced, either referred to as the bread of suffering. It's referred to as the bread of suffering. It was a reminder of the swiftness that Yahweh, deals with us in delivering us. There's a fast. Remember what they said? So to roast the meat, right? And then they have to roast the meat, and they're going to eat it now with their shoes on. With the staff in their hands. Because they're going to take them out. The swiftness. That night, they're going to take them out. They said, there was no time for their daily bread to rise. They didn't have the time to do it, okay? No time for that to happen. All right. So it had to remain unleavened. It had to remain unleavened. My brothers and my sisters, let me say this, that we have leaven in our lives. We need to get rid of them. We need to get rid of them. This is a time, and you know what though? We shouldn't just wait for Passover time to pray, to inspect our lives, to see what's going on. This should be a regular thing. If we're reading the Torah, it should be a regular thing where we take regular inventory of ourselves, remembering what Yahweh did for us. Remember what the leaven means, and how we need to get rid of the leaven in our lives and in our presence, okay? We just have to stop here, and we hope that this bring a little bit more light to you, and in regard to Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread. As we go through the next 7 days, remember to keep yourself unspotted from the world and to allow Yahweh to work and live in your life. We trust that this has been a blessing to you, and we ask that you'll walk with the King and be a blessing. Shalom.